Well, hey, everybody, this is John Craig, and it's good to be back with you again on this Tuesday, Walking in Spirit and Truth. And if you will pause with me momentarily, I'm going to play some background music, and I will be right back. It is a wonderful day. On this Tuesday, we're getting lots of rain here in the panhandle of Texas, which is nice because the panhandle is green, and I like it when it's green outside. And consider that we live in a time period when there's not a lot of rain. Out here in the panhandle of Texas, we go through dry seasons. And so when the rain happens, that's when you find out that you may have a leak. So, yeah, we found out that looking at a place on the roof, and that's where I was. That's what delayed me for a bit. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for staying with me today. We've got a lot of stuff we want to talk about. Enoch, right? We've been going through this whole journey, this adventure with Enoch, and so we've gone quite a ways into the book of Enoch, and a lot of different things that we've just learned through the course of many of us who've been believers for so many different years, and we've understood things. We've taken things by faith, and we said, well, that's in the Word, that's in the Brit Hadashah, that's in the Torah, and we've yeah, that makes sense, and that's what it is. And then, guess what? Then we read Enoch, and we read how Enoch has connected so many of the dots together. So there you go. So that's part of the deal. So yeah, Hey, yeah, Linda, there is a little leak that has formed, and that's what I was looking for. And because we got another round of rain on its way, probably during the show. During the show, we may get some more. And so, trying to figure out where it is, figure out where all that fun stuff is happening, and don't want to be falling through a ceiling again either. Yeah, that's no fun. So, yeah, the time for the replacement is very soon, very short, uh, and because the patchwork only lasts so long. Anyway, all right. Thank you, Linda. Praying and praying that when I go into the attic, no falling between the rafters. Right? Okay. So I have to kind of regurgitate where I'm at. This is my wife Sandi and I, we pastor Life of Worship Ministries here in Amarillo, Texas. If you're wondering who we are, and and we've been doing this for quite a long time. Life of Worship has been in Amarillo since 2005, and we've been walking a journey of Torah and keeping the Sabbaths and keeping the feast days and enjoying all different cycles and so we continue to meet on Shabbat, and we would love for you to join us online because our online. I was looking at like the people that go through and they listen to our archives and looking like right after our Shabbat services and the Torah portion and stuff is like there who's may not be with us online at the time. Then you go back and we check the numbers and a lot of people do join us, and we are grateful for every one of you that pick up. Maybe you don't want to catch it live because you want to listen at 1.5 time speed, but you're missing out on the chat. You're missing out on a great group of people that we have joining with us, but that's okay. So we meet on Shabbat at noon for our Torah portion, noon Central Time, that is, and then we go to about 2 o'clock. There's an intermission of about an hour as we kind of reset some things. And then we have a time of praise and worship and ministry time and a message after that for what we call our encounter service. And so we would love for anybody that would, that is looking for a good place to come in fellowship and worship the Most High with us as one group across the nation. We would love for you to join us. So that's that encounter service is at 3 p.m. Central Time. And it's roughly it's broken into 2 parts, so 2 different streams, about 3. Oh, yes, Linda, I'm gonna be careful up there. I really didn't like it, and if I had Sandi on my way down, it's like, "Oh, um, I called her on the phone. Good thing I had my phone with me. Come hold the ladder, please." Uh, yeah, yeah, because I only have an A-frame type of ladder. I don't have an extended, type lean-to ladder. So coming down that first step is just a little bit rough. So I apologize. I don't know what to do about the freezing because it seems now I have a new computer. It seems like it's a Tuesday night thing. So that's right. I haven't think was it last week? It was last week, and it was doing the same thing, and I was on my old computer. Oh, we can't be doing that. Oh, Father, restore whatever's going on in our internet. Let me see if there's something going in the background. That shouldn't be doing. That's not. Nope. No, that's so good. Nothing's going on in the background that I can tell, but we're going to work through it. And maybe it's a weather issue. Maybe it's just a Tuesday evening walking in spirit of truth issue. I don't know. Okay. So it could be just the enemy wanting to wreak havoc with us and see how we're going to walk through it. Go with me over to the book of Enoch. If you've got the book, if you've got it, I'm using the Sefer edition, and that has Enoch in it and a whole bunch of other what we call extra biblical books, but they're not really extra biblical. They're just there. And that many of them carry so many much of of the word, much of in the Brit Hadashah refers back to some of these extra books, and yet there are multiple copies found in the Qumran caves, in that priestly library. And why would they have multiple copies? Because there's something significant in them, and that they felt there was great value. So if they felt it was great value, and this is of the lineage of Zadok, and they kept the library, and they brought the library down from Jerusalem and stored it, and then they were preserved for us, as well as other copies in other places, like in Egypt, and in what were some, like a monastery that was down in Egypt, Alexandria, I believe. They had a huge library. I think there's even still some discoveries that are still there, but they sold a huge library, and to the what is it? Is it the museum, the big museum department or whatever in England, and in Cambridge is where they stored them. I can't remember what Dr. Pigeon was actually talking about it. And no, it wasn't Dr. Pigeon, it was Ken Johnson. He was actually talking about it and talking about this huge library of just scrolls and scrolls, in other words, books and books that are in the library, never been opened or translated. They've not been examined yet. And I can only imagine, like, the treasures that are hidden, and they contain so much of our biblical faith, and even other things that were going on in the day for thousands of years, and that could really shed light into so many different things that we've had questions about. So yeah, so I want to know more. Inquiring minds want to know. So don't you want to know stuff like that? Don't you want to know where some of these things came from, and why, and what we're looking at? So, all right. Yeah. And then also to be like the scholar who can read those biblical languages, whether it's the Aramaic or the Hebrew or the Paleo, or even some of the other, variations of that during that time, to be able to read those texts and get those gems and translate them and put them in English so other people could get them, and to be able to translate them without doctrinal biases. Now that would be absolutely the best. So yeah, like Janice Baca, I can't imagine what she did to go through the process of just simply to learn the languages so that she could go back in and then truly study it out and translate it into English, because some of the English is actually pretty good translation, and then some is just not that great. But we find that, and we find that in the libraries, because a lot of times they have their, like, the MSS translation, the Masoretic text, and some of those scriptures have been changed. Some of them have been just tweaked enough to kind of remove the Yeshua elements that are obvious, to make them just hints, so that people aren't going to find them, unless they're like you and me. We desire to know, and we desire to know the truth, and the truth will set us free. That's why we always want to know the truth, and we don't want to be deluded, because if we don't know the truth, then we are subject to the great delusion, according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. So because they came under the delusion because they love not the truth. That's always that's been a theme of mine for many, many years, is to love the truth, because in the search for understanding, that the truth will be found. You got to be open to it, though. And there's a lot of brethren and sisters and friends, people have been part of Life of Worship for many, many years ago, and you think that they love the truth, they want to know the truth, and but they didn't. They love a part of the truth, and so at least they, maybe they love the part of the truth that gets them into to be a wedding guest. But I want to be the one who loves the truth and is part of that bridal procession, part of the bride. I want to do that. So we're in Enoch chapter 96. By the way, if you like what's going on here at Life of Worship and the ministry that's going on and what we're doing to reach out and to bring the truth and just to speak life, and we would love for you to partner with us, and you can partner with us financially, and you can do that by going to www.lifeofworshipamarillo.org, and there's a donate button on there. You can click on that, and whatever the Father lays on your heart to do and to give, whether you bring a full tithe or an offering, a love gift, whatever it's to bless the ministry and to help us continue moving forward as our goal is to be moving in, to move into another building. But it's not only that, we have bills. We have all of our entire congregational stuff from infants to preschool to elementary to high school to all of the different feasts. We have all sorts of different things in storage. I mean, all sorts of different things. All of our furnishings, they're all in storage. So, and it costs every month. And all of our equipment, all of our sound equipment and all of that. So your gifts help us maintain those costs and take care of those bills. We're going to go to Enoch chapter 96. And if you will start with me, and where is, whoa, no, it's not an earthquake. That was just me. Okay, go to chapter 96 and begin with verse 1. We're just going to start there tonight, where it says, the righteous are confident that sinners will be disgraced. It just makes me think about something that just was announced today. I don't know if you heard about this announcement today, that Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, he is being sued along with another gentleman who is, and because of their off-bench deep state government stuff they're doing, things that they're doing in the background, probably the things that they're doing that are coordinating all the lawfare against the Trump administration. And I'm just speculating, but they're being sued. Yeah. And so I'm just thinking, the righteous are confident that sinners will be disgraced. I just wonder, this could be a pretty big deal. It was announced and they're very serious. And so, and I think, well, okay, is John Roberts a sinner or whatever? No, I'm not trying to pass judgment or saying, holier than thou or anything like that. I'm just saying, if people are doing evil, then what happens is what's going on in their lives, they'll be found out. And this type of exposure is very, very interesting to me. So the righteous are confident that sinners will be disgraced. But a lot of times, have you been confident? I haven't been confident about a lot of different things because so much has been hidden. They use a lot of the corruption against politicians that we elected to go up there and represent us in order to maintain a particular agenda. It doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican. Just one side brings more demise faster than the other side. I think about it like that. And we like, will somebody not step up? Father, will you not send somebody with that can bring down these people that demoralize this nation and have brought so much destruction? And so it says, but be confident, sinners will be disgraced and perish in the day of iniquity. So it's not only the perishing, but it's it's the disgrace part of it, and also then ultimately to perish in the day of iniquity. You shall yourselves be conscious of it, for El Elyon will remember your destruction, and the angels will rejoice over it. What will you do, sinners? And will you fly in the day of judgment? When you shall hear the words of the prayer of the righteous, you are not like them who in this respect witness against you. You are associates of sinners. In those days shall the prayers of the righteous, I think that's a key phrase here in this chapter 96. That's verse 4. In those days shall the prayers of the righteous come up before Yahweh, when the day of your judgment shall arrive, and every circumstance of your iniquity be related before the great and the holy one. Your faces shall be covered with shame. You know why? Why would they be covered with shame? Because they didn't allow Yeshua to take their shame, according to Isaiah 54. While every deed strengthened by crime shall be rejected. Strengthened by crime. Yeah, it's when the corruption starts, it's like a snowball effect. And then you think, how can you stop it? It's like a locomotive coming down this hill. And how do you stop it? Well, Yahweh stops it. Woe unto you, sinners. Those woes, I think there's a very, very, very powerful words there. Woe unto you, sinners, who in the midst of the sea and on dry land are those against whom an evil record exists. Woe to you who squander silver and gold, not obtained in righteousness, and say, we're rich, possess wealth, and acquired everything which we can desire. I'm thinking about what was happening over there in, was it the EPA or one of those governmental agencies? One you don't even think that there would be the dumping of money. And this one guy was caught on tape. He was on one of those, dating app type of dates, and he was talking about what he did and what their department was doing. And they said they had like several $billion in gold that they were told, you get rid of this. This is like in the interim time from the election until the inauguration, and get rid of this gold. And so they sent, like, I don't know, it was like several $billion, and they sent them over to like 5 different banks to hold, to just to get them off the property, to get them out of the government, so that that the incoming administration wouldn't even know that this was government gold and that they were hiding it. And so, as part of those, it wasn't USAID, but it was, something like that. But you think about, I was thinking about the silver and gold and how they just felt they could do anything with that which came from tax money here in the United States. We are rich, possess wealth. Many people were just skimming, I mean, I wonder how many gold bars actually disappeared. I just wonder how much was skimmed and converted to cash that people just pocketed, put it in briefcases or under mattresses or in pillowcases or whatever. And that's just missing. It's gone. Those that were money that was funneled through multiple NGOs, and everybody taking their cut. And no tracking and no accountability to how that money was being used. And so, yeah, we're rich. Those, the unrighteous, they not obtained silver and gold, squandered silver and gold, not obtained in righteousness, and say, we're rich, possess wealth. We've acquired everything which we can desire. Now then, will we do whatsoever we are disposed to do? For we have amassed silver, our barns are full, and the husbandmen of our families are like overflowing water. Like water shall your falsehood pass away. Yeah, they think they've got quite a flow, and they're being rebuked here that it shall pass away. For your wealth shall not be permanent, but shall suddenly ascend from you, because you have obtained it all iniquitously. To extreme malediction shall you be delivered up. And I think about like these different judges that have been passing these, these temporary restraining orders and stopping these executive orders that president, or just, I mean, they're causing delay. They're getting overturned, but they're causing delay. They're just, making the Trump administration really work hard with multiple lawsuits, and the judges come to find out, when we find out who these judges are, It's like they have a wife, a daughter, family, other family members. They're actually running the grift through these NGOs that were taking government money that they weren't accountable for, saying, well, I've got the, the Department to Maintain Democracy and, agency of the goodwill of democracy or whatever, whatever you want to name it. They just named it after something. Sound kind of cool. Sounds something kind of wokish, and they're just, again, skimming the money. And it just says that even they will find themselves that have an answer for it. Verse 9, and now I swear to you, crafty as well as simple ones, that you often contemplating the earth, you men clothe yourselves more elegantly than married women, and both together more so than a woman, and more colored than a girl, everywhere in majesty, in magnificence, in authority, and in silver. But gold, purple, honor, and wealth, like water, flow away. Yeah, just the entry cost to defend oneself, $250,000. So even if one is being sued for righteous reasons, not just lawfare, it's just righteous reasons, then the cost to defend is exorbitant. And you can watch that. You can watch your money just kind of flow away, right? So verse 10, erudition, therefore, and wisdom are not theirs. Thus shall they perish together with their riches, with all their glory, and with their honors, while with disgrace, with slaughter, and in extreme penury, shall their ruachot, their spirits, be thrust into a furnace of fire. I have sworn to you, sinners, that neither mountain nor hill has been or shall be subservient to women. That's interesting. Neither in this way has crime been sent down to us upon earth, but men of their own heads have invented it. And greatly shall those who give it efficiency be extricated. Wow, a lot of interesting words. It says, barrenness shall not be previously inflicted on woman, but on account of the work of her hands shall she die childless. I have sworn to you, sinners, by the Holy and the Great One, that all your evil deeds are disclosed in the heavens, and that none of your oppressive acts are concealed and secret. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. And it says, I have sworn to you, sinners, that neither mountain nor hill has been or shall be subservient to woman. I wonder, is that like the woman that's riding the beast? That's just taking advantage of everything. You don't know. We got to read more. I have sworn to you, sinners, by the Holy and the Great One, that your evil deeds are disclosed in the heavens, and that none of your oppressive acts are concealed in secret. Think not in your minds, neither say in your hearts, that none of your oppressive acts are concealed in secret. Think not in your minds, neither say in your hearts, that every crime is not manifested and seen. I heard somebody, it was yesterday on a broadcast, and they were saying blasphemous things. They are part of a satanic cult. That's who they represented. And they were out doing some type of protest, but the blasphemous things that were coming out of their mouth, and how they were saying how see, and I can say all these things, and look, your God is not real because I've not been struck dead. I mean, I was like, are you kidding me? Someone would even say that? That's crazy. Oh. Think not in your minds, neither say in your hearts, that every crime is not manifested and seen, because it is. I added that, because it is. In heaven, it is Oh, in heaven it is daily written down before El Elyon. Henceforth shall it be manifested, for every act of oppression which you commit shall be daily recorded until the period of your condemnation. Whoa, that just says it boldly and bluntly. Everything, every sin and act of oppression is written down, daily recorded. I mean, that's some pretty strong words, right? Woe to you, simple ones. That's why you're going to have some woes in here. Woe to you, simple ones. For you shall perish in your simplicity. In other words, they have no clue. They absolutely have no clue. They there's a lot going on in this passage, but it's so revealing. You just think about everything that's being that's happening around us, and you see the blasphemy and just the blatantness of everything, and you go, oh my goodness, why would they even do that? And then you come back and you read Enoch, and it's like straightforward, just yikes. Yeah, Linda, you put yikes in there. Sorry, I had to stop and pause there for a second. Woe to you, for you, you simple ones, for you shall perish in simplicity. To the wise, you shall not listen. To the wise, you will not listen. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because the simple ones, they're not going to listen to the wise. They're not going to listen to anybody that follows Torah. I mean, how many people do we know that say they're believers and they won't even listen to us? So what about the others? Even less. To the wise you will not listen, and that which is good you shall not obtain. Why? Because you want Shema. You're just not going to Shema. If you had Shema, you would obtain, but you're not going to attain. Now, therefore, know that you are destined to the day of destruction, nor hope that sinners shall live, but in process of time you shall die, for you are not marked for redemption. That's just really sad. It makes me think about that one passage that we read. It was, many weeks ago, many months ago, and it was just talking about those that would be gathered up, and when they were gathered up, that's when they repented, right? And I was just kind of thinking about this: is that these people will just go full force, like full throttle, all the way, and then they're going to hit the brick wall, and it's not just a proverbial brick wall. I mean, that's it. That's done. They're done. So, yeah, my computer's like fading in and out. It's crazy. Okay, so hey, Michael, it's good to see you joining us this evening. Good joining together with Linda. I see in the chat so far. But says 19, but are destined to the day of great judgment. See, they're not even marked for redemption. It's like, it's like the Exodus occurs and they don't get to go. I mean, I'm thinking about Egypt, and I'm thinking about Israel, and they've had the Passover lamb in their house 4 days, and it's being examined, and then they're told, it's okay, this is the day, it's time to slaughter the lamb, put the blood on the lintels of the door, to prepare, get inside for the Passover, but you're going to have your sandals on, your belts on, everything's girded up, ready to go. And I'm just thinking about, yeah, but you guys over there, yeah, you're not marked. You don't get to go because you didn't believe. You didn't believe in the Lamb. You didn't believe in the process of the Lamb, and so you don't get redemption. Verse 19, but are destined to the day of great judgment, destined to the day of great judgment, to the day of distress, the day of great judgment, the day of distress, and the extreme ignominy of your souls. Ignominy. Man, big words in chapter 96. Woe to you. Here's another word. Obdurate in heart. Wow. I need my dictionary. Okay. Woe to you, obdurate in heart, who commit crime, feed on blood and feed on, oh, wait. Um, that's really cringe because how many do you know that we've heard? I mean, it's come out of the secrets of Hollywood and of the elite on their meetings that they have where they feed on blood. They particularly like the blood of infants, and and where they go through the process. Oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. It's let me just say it this way: when they feed off the blood of the innocent and they feed off the blood of the infants, of the children, this is, I'm just going to say it because this is maybe as tastefully as I can say it, but you get the idea. It's a slow motion death. Okay, just you understand, a prolonged, in order to get the most out of the blood, the most of the adrenaline out of the blood that they possibly can. It's very gross, but that's what it, but this, he's talking about, Enoch is talking about our day. And woe to you, verse 20, woe to you, obdurate in heart, who commit crime and feed on blood. Whence do you feed on good things, drink, and are satiated? It is not because our Adonai El Elyon has abundantly supplied every good thing upon the earth. To you there shall not be peace. And I just think now we know. I mean, when you look at this, you can tie that back into even some of the things we're reading through in the current Torah portions about blood, not to eat the blood. Don't eat the blood. The word is very clear about it. And here Enoch is saying, and it's just, we're not talking about people eating just raw meat, by the way. This is, that's, I just want to be very clear about this. This is not about raw meat that still has blood in it. This is talking about uh, these cultic belief systems who perpetrate these crimes against the innocent, and they're predators upon the innocent. And to you, speaking to those people that do that, to you there shall not be peace. You know, they do that. They're trying to find peace. Yeah, it's almost, it is, Linda. It's a type of cannibalism that that they would be going after and inflicting such pain in order to draw blood from the innocent, in order to get that blood, and ultimately, there is something that they believe in, that once that person has died, and by the way, it's not just limited to babies, infants, toddlers, children. They do it to full grown adults as well. Just saying, it's true. They'll do it to that, but to go in and partake of the organs and the innards and all that, it's just totally nasty. I don't even have a stomach for that. I'm glad I don't, but just, I mean, that is cannibalistic. And but they feel like they're uh, combining by doing that, they take the power of the flesh of that one person, and to bring it to sponge off of it to enhance their own powers and ability. You know, ultimately it's demonic, and the demonic influence to get somebody to do something that to the innocent, that is completely satanic and demonic. And I can't imagine the influence of somebody that steps in and does that, and there's no emotional I mean, that there actually, what it is there is emotional detachment. I mean, because I mean, I think about my granddaughters and their innocence, and anybody hurting somebody like that is just, I mean, it's wicked evil, and that is light of what type of person they are. Woe to you who love the deeds of iniquity. Why do you hope for that which is good? Know that you shall be given up into the hands you shall be given up into the hands of the righteous, who shall cut off your necks, slay you, and show you no compassion. Because a lot of times we think about, well, just get them arrested and then and charge them, and then they go to prison, and no, sometimes the right thing to do is decapitation. I mean, it sounds kind of harsh, that that type of capital punishment, but for the evil and the crimes that they have done, just think of it, if it's just like, well, we know they did it this one time, that one time is probably multiplied into dozens and dozens, even hundreds and hundreds of times. And and uh so when when they're out there and they're gathering the innocent and the children, I mean, think about the 350,000 children that just disappeared in the United States because their life is only so long once they've been the the authorities have lost track of them, and that their life spans is very, very short after that. And that's what the FBI will tell you. That's, they say, when because they fall into the hands of these people that will sell them out, and then at some point in time they go through the final rituals of their murder. So it's and how many people have they done it to? The revolving door. Says, woe to you who rejoice in the trouble of the righteous, for a grave shall not be dug for you. Woe to you who rejoice in the trouble of the righteous. I mean, how many people were just talking, like the people, like the grandma that walked into the Capitol and walked back out on January 6th, and then she is charged and thrown into prison, and people rejoiced over people like that. It's not just a grandma. I mean, there are other people, moms and dads, and sons and daughters, and whomever, however you want to look at it, that walked into the Capitol and they walked back out. There's like like tourists, oh, look at that, look at here, look at here. They aren't out there disturbing anything, not doing any type of insurrection. It's just that the doors are there, and the police say, yeah, come on in if you want to come in, check it out. And they're staying between the stanchions, staying between the ropes. And many people, even today, are rejoiced in them being wrongly convicted over an improper use of laws, and which was ultimately was overturned and thrown out. So, and of course, their actual convictions overturned and pardoned by President Trump, which is a good thing. And but it's really sad, because I mean, I bring these real world situations in because that's what we've been experiencing, and how much more of a reality it is because we've been walking through these things and experiencing them. Woe to you who frustrate the word of the righteous, for to you there shall be no hope for life. That's pretty strong. We came across a situation a couple of days ago. We found out something about one of the young ladies that was part of our congregation, who came and has been saying stuff about life of worship, and it's like, well, that's absolutely not true. And why couldn't she just come talk to us, or her husband? Why can't they just come talk to us about this stuff? But they would rather just promote lies. And I kind of think about this is that they don't want to know the truth, and so there shall be. But on the other side, what are they doing? They frustrate the word of the righteous. So what happens to us, for example, is here we are wanting to bring forth the word and the truth, but if there's someone out there with that lashon hara, that's causing an influence within particular circles. Of course, in those circles, they don't even run across people that we run across, but nevertheless, word like that speaking against us is kind of like what they're saying here, is that who frustrate the word of the righteous, for to you there shall be no hope in life. And that's the sad downside of it, is that if we're not watching what we say, uh, what type of consequences? And I'm not saying that the father is ready to bash them over the head and cause misery in their lives, because that's not the type of father we are. But what does it do in terms of the protection, being allowed to live out one's own devices and the consequences that come with that? And it's pretty sad. And it says, woe to you who write down the word of falsehood and the word of the wicked. For their falsehood they record, but they may hear and not forget folly. So in the word of the wicked, for their falsehood they record, but they may hear and not forget folly. Wow, yeah, kind of like the newspapers, right? Do you ever think about that? Kind of like the newspapers, they record these things so they don't forget. They can hold into history. One of the courts that came up with one of the injunctions here recently actually quoted, of all different things, a news source as a reason why to issue a temporary restraining order. Can you believe that? They would use a news source. And well, what have we learned about news sources? News sources aren't credible, and in order to quote that, they would have to say, okay, you're a reporter, you need to come in and you need to testify to this and bring validity to it, and bring your sources so that it can be proven as a newsworthy source. But because we know how bad the news is, and because it's so filled with propaganda and falsehoods, you can't use it. And yet, but if you think about what the newspaper is, for their falsehood they record, that they may hear and not forget folly. To them there shall be no peace, and they shall surely die suddenly. Whoa. That's pretty wild there. They shall surely die suddenly. I can only think about all of the people, and you can go. There's actually there's an X channel, and there's also there's another platform that has a channel, and it's called Died Suddenly, and it's just it's just a historical record of all these different things about these people that took the thing in their arm and then died suddenly at some point in time. And many of them are even boasting about taking that thing in their arm, and then not long afterwards they died suddenly. And it's become like a phenomenon that's like a normal phenomenon now, is that people die suddenly. And then I think about that. Do you think here they are, they're recording their falsehoods? In other words, how many publications carried the falsehoods about that? And then to them, there is no peace, but they shall surely die suddenly. And yeah, even the complications that come afterwards until the dying suddenly has been prolific. The heart issues and blood clots and the dementia and so many other different side effects. And they had no peace until ultimately then they passed. And wow, it's just like this is so prophetic. And now it's like we're reading this as history, and yet how much more is still prophetic? I don't know, something to think about. And now it's brought us up. I know we got a little bit of a late start today, but that was chapter 96. We'll start with chapter 97 next week, and y'all willing, and kind of go a little bit further on this. But to me, I'm reading through this way. Maybe somebody else doesn't see it this way, but I feel like I'm reading the newspaper. I mean, not the newspaper, but reading real news. Well, that's it for me tonight. I hope you got something out of it. Can't wait till next week where we get into the next part. See you on Shabbat at Life of Worship, the Life of Worship Ministries YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up on the way out, and like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Shalom.
If you missed today's show or want to watch it again or want to tell someone where they can watch this episode, go to lamnetwork.tv where you will find this show and all the other live Lamb show archives in the on-demand section of the website. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tell someone about the Messianic Lamb Network. We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussions, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the lamnetwork.tv website. I'm Sandi Craig, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.